So, first, the elite. Of course, if you take a minister nowadays going to a TV show, he's full of information about good analysis, about sociology. You have got a perfect prime minister, Valdis Dombrovskis, the longest time anyone has been on this throne, I assume. He's very much like Andrus Ansip. They're in Brussels now, but they both have are of the educational background of physics or chemistry, intellectual minds, captive minds, not waving hands too much. Valdis Dombrovskis, as you might know, is by 1/3 an Estonian. His grandmother's name is Herta Saar from Haapsalu city. His grandfather was a sailor, and Haapsalu is a haven city, hafen city. Anyway, when members of the governing elite present, the police chief, huge information, the databases. So they are from the informational elite, and they want to press their messages. They are trained at that. They have army, usually our previous colleagues, defending them. When, for instance, I tried to interview our president, Toomas Hendrik Ilves, 1 year ago, about what to think about how the US platforms like Google and Facebook and LinkedIn surrendered our private data to the US government, I was being handled by my previous colleague, a very famous journalist, Toomas Sildam. He's now working as a PR chief for the president's office. When again we wanted to ask our chief commander of our armed forces, Mr. Teras, where to run when the bombardment begins. We don't have the shelters, you know. We have some arguments with Russia. We don't build shelters. Finns don't argue with Russia, but they build shelters. They right now build bomb shelters under the houses, the new built houses. It's a demand. So I couldn't get the interview instantly because our ex-editor-in-chief of our daily paper is now working for General Teras. He's avoiding answers, telling that this would not be proper, this is proper. So we're losing our guys to this PR service and GIA service, of course, government relations, even more hefty in financial terms than public relations. You know, we have to define now, when the elite has the brilliant analysis and good approach to the fresh databases, and also to classified information. Are we or are we not in war, in information war with Russia right now? We had the case with this very famous and infamous case of an officer being captured somewhere near Estonian-Russian border. The state was very quick to announce, that's just one example for you, to announce that the border guards, both from Russian side and from Estonian side, signed 2 identical protocols saying that our officer Kohver was being caught on Russian territory. As Russian Delphi exposed 3 days ago, this was a lie. Those protocols were not identical. Russian border guards have never signed anything saying that Mr. Kohver was being arrested on their side. So we were being fed a lie, a patriotic lie. And Russian Delphi got huge criticism for exposing this lie. So are we or are we not in the war? This is, of course, what the elite, the governing elite, has the power to determine. So we get the info haves and the info have-nots. It's like the Marxist times, but then we were talking about material resources, the haves and have-nots. Now it's about information. So some news organizations are in war with advertisers. And as I read from one paragraph in the presentation of the investigative journalist group today, it's also the case in Latvia that if you ask a publisher what's the circulation of your magazine or of a newspaper, you are quite certain to get a lie. The same in Lithuania, it happens. And this way, it also happens that if you ask the worker of Riga, for instance, or Latvia's Avisa, who's the owner of Latvia's Avisa, they would claim that this is the managing director is the owner, which I've been told is not exactly the truth. So the media also is part of the elite, having this small war, their advertisers, the overall audience. It's an egoistic war, and it better